Hey guys, my name is Elizabeth, and this is going to be my first video relating to my betta fish. So we're going to go over the top 12 myths about betta fish. Actually, I think there's 11 on my list. Yeah, it's top 11 myths, or 12 if I think of another one, about betta fish. So myths and misconceptions. So the first one is that betta fish prefer to live in small spaces because in the wild they're found in little tiny pockets of water. This is not true at all. Betta fish need at least 3 gallons, some people say, but I say no less than 5 gallons. 10 gallons if you want to have tank mates. But yeah, he is the only inhabitant of a 10-gallon tank. This is a 10-gallon tank from PetSmart, I believe. It's the top fin. I'm trying to read it. Top fin color flow, because if you saw at the beginning of the video, the colors, it's like a disco light kind of. It can change colors. Second myth is that bettas can live in a bowl without a heater or a filter. This is a complete and utter misconception. Betta fish need a heater. Betta fish are tropical fish, so the water where they are in the wild is warmer than the water that you can provide them without a heater, unless you live in a warm climate. I put the heater over here near his filter, which filters the water. Obviously, it's called a filter. And so that way the water's heated and it goes all over the place. With the heater, you also want to make sure you have a thermometer in your tank to make sure that the heater is working. I keep it at the complete heater's over here, the thermometer is over at the complete opposite end to make sure the hot water is being dispersed all the way over here onto the opposite side of the tank. That way I know it's dispersed throughout the entire tank equally. With the filter, yeah, they live in water, obviously, that doesn't have a filter in the wild, but they don't like living in dirty, muddy, nasty, crappy water. That's like, imagine putting you in your bedroom and you have to eat and do everything, like go use the bathroom and stuff in your room, and you're never allowed to leave. Imagine that's like putting them in dirty water and not filtering it or cleaning it often enough. They are hardy fish, they will survive it, but there is a difference between surviving and thriving. If they're living in that kind of condition, especially in like if you have a small tank, like some people will leave their fish in the cup that they bought them in, and I quote from the cup, this container is not a permanent habitat for your betta. It says it right there on the cup, so why would you leave them in the cup? This is way, 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 way too small for a betta fish. So obviously they're not going to survive in this. They're not going to survive in their own waste. And this obviously doesn't have a heater or a filter in it. It's a little cup. And yes, there are some people like, oh, I left my fish in its cup and it lived for 2, 3, whatever amount of years. Cool. But that's not having your fish thrive. That's having your fish survive. So just go ahead, and if you're getting a fish for the first time, just go ahead and get the bigger tank. It'll save you so much money. Third myth is that male bettas are the only ones that are aggressive. This is false. Female bettas can be as aggressive and sometimes even more aggressive than the males. It just depends on the fish. Male bettas, yes, 100% of the time. If you have 2 male bettas, they will fight. It doesn't matter if they don't fight for a year. They will eventually fight to the death. But no. Female bettas, people have these things that they buy. They buy a lot of females and they create a female betta sorority. And then most of the times you'll end up with one fish who is an aggressor. And that time you will have to separate that. Even if you just have 2 and they start fighting, separate them. It's best. It's kind of like hamsters where they're solitary animals. You want to just keep one betta to a tank. Don't even try to mix them, because it's just better to prevent a fight before it happens. So yeah. Along with the aggression, the fourth one is betta fish are aggressive and cannot have tank mates. This is false. Betta fish can have tank mates. Tank mates are fish other than betta that a betta can live with. If you want tank mates, you're going to have at least a 10-gallon tank so that the betta feels like it can go somewhere if he doesn't want to be around, or he or she doesn't want to be around the other fish. one is that male bettas have brighter colors and more unique patterns than females. This is false. You can have a female betta fish that has bright colors just like you can have a male betta fish that has bright colors. And patterns the same. Female betta fish just don't have the long flowing tail that male betta fish do. Sometimes they do. It honestly just depends on what kind of betta you are getting. But no, females can be just as beautiful as males. The sixth one, betta fish are lazy. This is completely false. Betta fish are very active. They will act lazy if they don't have enough stimulation. He has four different spots he can go into if he's wanting to be by himself. He's got different little tunnels, and I flip around the plants whenever I do a water change. So once a week I flip around the plant, so it's a little bit of a new environment for him. And then sometimes you can get little moss balls that can be put on the bottom to, first off, it helps with the pH and ammonia and balance with the chemicals, but they can also like nudge at it and see, ooh, what is this? You can also, the easiest thing to do, go buy ping pong balls. I know, weird, but they love pushing them along the top of the water. Just make sure if you use ping pong balls, you're not leaving the ping pong ball in there 24/7 because they will get sensitized to it and disinterested in it. You want to make sure, like, I'll put one in there. If I see him kind of like in a little lazy spout, he's just not doing anything, I'll put a little ping pong ball in there and boop, he's like, oh, what is this? Also, they're not dumb either. My last betta fish I had, Hedwig, I taught him how to jump through a ring. Not like a little ring, but like a hoop earring. I taught him how to jump through that. I was bored. I could tell he was bored. I was like, okay, let's stimulate your brain a little bit. And I could get it out of the water about an inch, and he'd jump through it. That is another reason why, just side note, you need a lid for your tank if you're going to have a betta, because they will jump out. Found that with my first fish, Rocky. It was not fun. But yes, he jumped out. Or no, Rocky, it was a she jumped out. I had a Rocky, and then I had something else, I had an R. I don't know. But yeah, you want to make sure you have a lid on your tank. The seventh one, betta fish build bubble nests when they are happy. That's untrue. They'll build bubble nests when they're happy, sad, stressed, anxious, anything. They will build, it's just part of their nature. They will build bubble nests. Doesn't depend on their mood. They'll just build them. And so you cannot use that as a factor in determining if they are happy or unhappy or stressed out or if something is going on with them. Betta fish can survive on plant roots. This is a trend where you'll put a betta fish in a vase or a vase, depending on how you like to pronounce it, and you'll put a little plant and some soil on the top, and the betta fish will live off of the plant, and the plant will live off the betta fish. The plant may live off the betta fish species, even though they don't produce a lot of waste, but the betta fish will not live. Betta fish are insectivores. They need protein in their diet. That's why most betta fish pellets and food are specifically for betta fish, because they do need protein in their diet. I use the Aqueon color enhancing betta food. I don't know if the color enhancing does anything. All I know is that it was a lot, and it says you get 20% more than other betta foods. So I got it, and I've had this since Hedwig, my last betta fish, who lived for 2.5 years, was about 2.5 years old. Or no, he lived to be 2.5 years old. I've had this since he was about 1.5 years old. So yeah, these will last your fish their entire lifetime. This will last your fish. Yeah, you need to make sure they're having a well-balanced diet. Most of the times with that trend about putting them in a plant pot or whatever, they'll die due to malnutrition. 9, along with food, people, when they buy, it even says on here, feed them for 2 to 3 minutes, 2 to 3 times a day. Not true. Their stomach is about the size of their eyeball. So you need to keep that in consideration when you're feeding them. So I feed him 2 times a day, 5 pellets, because that's what I found is the best for him. Now, some betta fish might require more food. You'll see that they're showing signs of malnutrition, and you'll be like, okay, yeah, that's when you need to feed them more food. Betta fish will continually eat until they literally eat themselves to death. They don't have the same sensory stuff that we have that tells us, hey, we're full. They don't have that. They'll keep eating. And so you need to make sure that you are only feeding them a little amount 2 times a day, maybe 3 times a day. But you do not need to do that 2 to 3 minute thing. It's just ridiculous, because in time he takes maybe 20 seconds to eat 5 pellets. So if I were to do 2 minutes, that would be about 60 pellets he would eat, which would be way too much food for him. Oh, look at him. He's cute. And I can tap on the glass, and actually sometimes, are you going to do it? He doesn't mind me tapping on the glass. I've done it since I got him a month ago, and he's never had a problem when tapping on the glass. If a fish starts to show any signs of stress when you're touching the glass, stop touching the glass. They obviously don't like it. The last one is betta fish do not have long lifespans in captivity. People say, oh, my betta fish only lasted 5 months, and that was because he died of natural causes. No, your betta fish probably died of malnutrition. You didn't put dechlorinator in when you put in the water, or he died of a bacterial infection that you didn't catch because you didn't know what it was. That's why right now he had fin nipping when he was in a 3-gallon tank, so I enhanced it to a 10-gallon tank. I didn't enhance it. I bought a 10-gallon tank. I don't know why I said enhanced. Upgraded. I upgraded him to a 10-gallon tank. And so his fin is getting much better. It is going to take a little bit of time to heal, just like you cut your finger. It takes 3 weeks to heal, or fully heal. And so, where was I going with this? But yeah, I change his water twice a week to prevent him getting any bacterial infection. And the moment I see a bacterial infection in his fin, if he gets it, I'm immediately going to go buy Betta Fix. It's the best thing you can buy if you find out if there's fin rot or any bacterial infection wrong with your fish. The best thing. But if you have tank mates, you want to make sure you take the fish out. So you want to take your betta fish out of the tank, or whichever fish is having a bacterial infection, into another tank, because the betta fish will start to be toxic to the fish that don't actually have any bacterial infection. So you need to remember that. But yeah, your betta fish has not died due to natural causes. It has died due to something that you did that was harming to it, whether you knew it or not. I'm not trying to be rude to people whose fish die after 5 months. Because of this, you have become more educated. That's what happened with my first fish. She was in a little 1-gallon bowl, no heater, no filter. And then once she died, I was like, okay, I'm going to do some research so my next fish lasts longer. And that's when I found all this information regarding betta fish. But no, betta fish in captivity should live 2 to 4 years. It's a wide span because it's just depending on things. But Hedwig was my last fish who lasted the longest. He was 2.5 years when he passed away, and that was completely my fault why he passed away. I went on a vacation and didn't leave him enough food. Oh, and my iPad's died, so I don't have light anymore. But no, that was completely my fault. So I took responsibility for that, and I immediately went and got him. This is Podrick, everybody. This is who you're going to be seeing in videos. He is I don't know how old, but he's a black orchid male. I don't know, orchid. But he's beautiful. I love him. Obviously, again, I don't know how old he is, because I didn't get him as a little. I don't like buying the little ones from Petco, PetSmart, like the babies that don't have a gender, because I just like knowing their gender, and I want, when I get them to look very beautiful. And when they're babies, I just think they don't look as beautiful as they do when they're older. So next time I might get a little tiny baby one, but we'll have to see. But yeah, those are the top 11 misconceptions about betta fish. Hope you enjoyed. I'm going to do another video soon.